Gilbert J. Arenas Jr. was born on January 6, 1982, in Tampa, Florida, but grew up in the tough neighborhoods of Los Angeles, raised largely by his grandmother after his mother became ill. From an early age, he loved competition, playing hoops in local parks, selling candy as a kid to build hustle, and attending Locke High School in Watts, where he made his name as a high-scoring guard. Despite being undersized at 6 feet 3 inches, his shooting flair and toughness caught the attention of scouts. He played 1 year at the University of Arizona and declared for the NBA draft in 2001, selected 31st overall by the Golden State Warriors, and immediately traded to the Washington Wizards. He entered the league looking to prove he belonged, and he did that fast. His breakout came in 2003-04, when he averaged 18 points per game and dazzled with clutch scoring. Soon, Agent Zero became Wizards royalty. Between 2003 and 2007, Gilbert dominated the paint with lethal three-point shooting and fearless drives. His most iconic season was 2006-07, when he averaged 29.3 points per game, nearly 30 points, and hit 243 three-pointers, third best in the league. He became a 3-time NBA All-Star, a cultural phenomenon in Washington, and earned countless nicknames for his daring play. He loved trash talk, flashy fashion, cleats, and making headlines. Despite this success, Arenas's path was wanderlust and drama. He attempted ventures into music and acting, launched his own gaming tournament, and became something of a local hero in D.C. But his aggressive style also led to trouble. In 2009, Arenas was arrested and eventually suspended for bringing loaded pistols into the Wizards' locker room in a fight over gambling debts with a teammate. The entire saga, under the watch of league cameras, sparked outrage and derailed his career. Still, Gilbert returned briefly in 2011-12, then bounced around the league. Orlando, Memphis, Shanghai, each stop a version of himself trying to recapture old form. But his knee injuries and high-profile behavior held him back. By 2013, he quietly drifted out of the NBA, left with unfinished business and unanswered questions about what could have been. In the years afterward, Gilbert reinvented himself as an entrepreneur, podcast host, and youth coach. He shared stories of NBA inside life on his podcast Hold At, Mixers tours, and at youth basketball camps. He unapologetically promoted financial literacy and mental fortitude, admitting mistakes and celebrating persistence. But recent news has cast a long shadow over that legacy. In July 2025, federal authorities unsealed charges against Gilbert Arenas and 5 others for allegedly operating an illegal sports betting ring out of his Encino mansion in Los Angeles. According to the indictment, between 2021 and 2024, the group accepted more than $10 million in wagers on NFL and NBA games, operated bookmaking networks through encrypted apps, and allegedly paid gamblers with guns when they couldn't settle debts. Gilbert is accused of organizing the syndicate, recruiting high rollers, and using his celebrity to legitimize a criminal enterprise. He was arrested without incident, processed, and required to surrender his passport. His legal team has posted bail. Meanwhile, fans watched in disbelief. Many recalled the 2009 gun scandal and the spark of chaos it brought to his career. They asked, was this another chapter in a pattern or something else? To understand what might have led him here, one must go back to his journey. Gilbert grew up poor, hustling, trusting his own wits. As a star, he earned over $250 million in NBA contracts, but a lack of financial discipline, lavish lifestyle, and gambling culture reportedly drained his resources. Sources say he lost tens of millions in casinos and private bets. Sex tapes, lawsuits, and emotional turmoil with relationships, including backlash after an alleged affair with a public figure, fueled tabloid coverage. Still, many stand up for him, teaming his community work, public transparency, and mentorship. Gilbert's basketball camps throughout inner-city Los Angeles offered free meals, tuition scholarships, and basketball instruction. He became a fixture at local recreation centers, encouraging kids to embrace dedication in education. Even as he stumbled, he reminded fans that he believed in redemption. In court filings, his lawyers emphasize his mental health challenges, including bipolar disorder and depression, which he has publicly acknowledged. They argue that his posts about gambling addiction and therapy sessions show a man struggling to recover from emotional wounds that preceded his stardom. NFL and NBA personalities offered mixed reactions, some condemning the illegal operations, others calling for compassion, citing a culture that often encourages athletes to make risky business deals. Don't misunderstand. Federal crime is serious. Bookmaking rings and illegal wagers carry prison time. But the conversations that followed felt familiar. Blame the person or blame the system? Gilbert's situation reflects larger issues in professional sports. Few leagues offer structured financial education or mental health support. Many athletes retire early, lose identity, and turn to fame-driven side hustles or underground gambling circles. Gilbert is not alone in walking that line. His one-time teammate Stephen Cox has said, "Gil was too big not to be blown up," a star who couldn't balance the explosion of money, attention, and pressure. What remains uncertain is whether this legal fight will end his legacy or reframe it. If convicted, he could face years in prison, forfeiture of assets, and permanent damage to his personal brand. But some observers argue he might still emerge to act as a cautionary figure, advocating against gambling addiction, supporting criminal justice reform, and teaching young athletes how not to derail tomorrow. Even now, Gilbert appears conflicted. In a recent social media post, he called the indictment "my worst nightmare and my wake-up call." He claimed to be cooperative, committed to full disclosure, and ready to face consequences. He also expressed regret for how his actions may affect his children. 3 young sons who shared his likeness and star power before they could understand their father's history. His fans divided. Some still wear Arenas jerseys in homage to his youthful scoring years. Others feel betrayed. But all agree the saga is more complicated than headlines. People tweeted statistics about his 2006-07 season. Historians reminded readers no other Washington area player has scored 60 points in a game the way he did against Dallas. Podcasts dissected every bookmaking scheme allegation and compared judicial plea bargains. Every major network is now planning his biopic or cautionary feature depending on outcome, outlining a tale of heart and hubris. Will Gilbert stand in a prison jumpsuit or at a youth center podium expressing remorse? Either way, the next chapter is no longer about competitive scoring. It's about atonement, legacy, and whether a second act remains possible for Agent Zero. What remains undeniable is this. Gilbert Arenas rewrote what scoring guard could mean. He exposed corruption, both in others' hands and his own. He lit up NBA highlight reels with threes, buzzer beaters, and sideline charisma. He sank Game 5 game winners, battled out-of-bounds defenders, and earned a nickname that defined him. But his story is also a warning. Individual brilliance does not excuse personal responsibility. A shot clock violation doesn't cause scandal, but choices do. The same fame that once lifted him now carries legal consequence. As the court date approaches, one question hangs over his biography. How do we judge a man whose best moves were on the court, but whose fate now resides in a courtroom? His biography is no longer just about points or seasons. It's about judgment, fallibility, and whether we forgive stars who trip under pressure. Gilbert J. Arenas Jr. may have risen like a prodigy and fallen like Icarus. But the question now is whether he'll fade or fly again.